I'm delighted to present Epilepsy Ireland's audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023. As the Chair mentioned, our accounts are prepared in accordance with the statement that recommended practice for charities, SORP, the best practice accounting standard for charities. The statements have been audited by Mazars, one of the country's leading audit and assurance firms, and one that has significant expertise in the charity sector. I'm pleased to report that Mazars have issued an unmodified audit opinion. In other words, a clean audit, signifying that the company has a good financial standing and complies with the governing principles of accounting. The accounts were approved by the Epilepsy Ireland Board in May and have been sent to all our members. They are also on our website for the general public to view, along with a short explanation of how we raise and use our funds. I'd like to take a few minutes to mention some of the key financial information for 2023. Just to note that when I'm quoting numbers, I'm going to round to the nearest thousand, but the exact numbers are detailed in the financial statements. Our overall result for the year was a surplus of 146,000. This is the first surplus recorded since 2020 and follows deficits of 25,000 in 2021 and 108,000 in 2022. This was a significantly better outcome than what had been budgeted for at the start of the year, and is mainly the result of an unexpected income from legacies received during the year, totaling 204,000. Without these bequests, we would have recorded a deficit of 58,000. Other factors that influenced this result include an improved fundraising performance, additional HSE funding to address the rising costs of providing services, and a continued emphasis on keeping our costs under control. Our total income was just under 1.87 million, an increase of 339,000 from the previous year. HSE funding in the form of Section 39 service level agreements was again our most important source of income, accounting for 42% of all income. These grants, provided by 7 of the HSE's community healthcare areas, are restricted for the provision of our support services. As many of our members will be aware, the funding amounts have not changed for well over a decade, although additional one-off funding of 29,000 was received in 2023 to assist in dealing with increased costs due to inflation. The funding is highly variable from region to region, and significant deficits are recorded in some areas, particularly the West region, where annual funding of less than 4,000 per annum represents less than 10% of the cost of providing our service. Overall, in 2023, 74,000 needed to be transferred from our operational reserve to meet HSE funding shortfalls. The third consecutive year that the shortfall has increased. After many years of HSE inaction in addressing this situation, which exists across the entire Section 39 sector, there were some positive developments in 2023, when the Workplace Relations Commission brokered a pay deal which will see pay increases of 8% for all Section 39 staff. This is the first serious effort to address a retention and recruitment crisis in the sector, and while very much welcome, it does not address the issue of increased non-pay costs for organisations like Epilepsy Ireland and many others. In addition, despite the deal being agreed before Christmas, we do not yet know what additional funding will be provided under the deal. Non-HSE funding and grants account for 10% of our total income. This includes 85,000 through the support scheme for national organisations, which supports 2 of our core staff positions. 26,000 euro in funds received from the RTE Toy Show appeal, which supports some of the programmes for children and young adults mentioned in the Chair's report. And 70,000 in respect of the Training for Success programme, which closed last September. Total non-grant income in 2023 was 905,000. This includes 200,000 from our training programme in the administration of Buckle Medaslam, which is another vital source of funds for the charity. Epilepsy Ireland is the premier provider in the country of training in this area. Fundraising income was 671,000, which consists of donations, memberships, legacies, raffles and lotteries, campaigns and events, and also an in-kind donation valued at 45,000 euro. This is a 63% increase compared to 2022 And although much of the increase was due to the large legacy donations of 204,000 and the in-kind donation, our general fundraising income was still 10% higher than in 2022. While it is very positive that fundraising has increased for each of the past 3 years, it is also the case that it has not yet reliably returned to pre-COVID levels. As always, we had incredible support from the epilepsy community and general public with our fundraising efforts. We are reliant on the generous support of thousands of people across the country who contribute their time and energy every year to volunteer and fundraise in many different ways, big and small, and we thank everyone who supported Epilepsy Ireland in 2023. Total expenditure in 2023 was 1.72 million, and although this was an increase of 84,000 on the previous years, it was well within budget and is the result of an ongoing close focus on managing costs across our network in programs, fundraising, administration, compliance, and strategic projects. Under the SORP, expenditure is reported in terms of chargeable activities and raising funds. 86% of all expenditure went to direct chargeable objectives. This is further broken down as follows. 39% went towards support and information services. 21% was related to training and education services. 14% went to awareness raising activities. 6% to advocacy, and 6% to epilepsy research. The remaining 14% represents the cost of raising funds. These percentages are very similar to the breakdown in 2022. The nature of our work, providing personalized support services to people with epilepsy and their families, is highly dependent on direct staffing resources. We employ skilled, experienced service and training staff to deliver on our objectives in these areas, supported by professional expertise in fundraising and administration. In 2023, the average number of employees was 22, comprised of 16 in service delivery and training and 6 in administration and funding. 59% of all expenditure was pay related in 2023, and the total staff costs of just over €1 million, which included employers' PRSI and pension costs, were less than 1% higher than in the previous year. No additional payments or bonuses of any kind are paid to any Epilepsy Ireland employees apart from the employer pension fund contributions. You can find more details of employees in Note 12 of the financial statements, including our disclosure of salaries greater than €60,000. The balance sheet remains strong, and the 2023 surplus means that our net assets and total funds held have increased by €146,000 to €1.61 million. The main changes compared to last year include the reclassification of some bank deposits as short-term investments, an increase in both debtors and creditors, and a reorganization of funds held by the charity. The increase in debtors mainly relates to an invoice issued in December in respect of a €110,000 corporate donation grant from Angelini for the new Young Epilepsy Programme. As this grant has only been used from 2024, it is classed as deferred income, which also results in an increase in our creditors on the year-end balance sheet. Reserves consist of restricted funds of €125,000, designated funds of €500,000, and an unrestricted operational reserve of €985,000. Restricted reserves include amounts relating to the HSE, the RTE Toy Show Appeal, and other grants which are to be used in future periods. Restricted amounts also includes €81,000 to be used for the establishment of an expanded aids and appliances scheme. The board also maintains designated reserves for use in strategic activities, including undertaking epilepsy awareness campaigns, funding epilepsy research, and implementing our strategic plan. In 2023, we examined the appropriateness of the amounts designated for these purposes, and some changes were made. We increased our designated research reserve to €150,000 to cover current and future investments, and we increased the amount set aside for awareness campaigns such as International Epilepsy Day to €100,000. We also undesignated €50,000 that had been held to develop our aids and appliances scheme. This is because we now have sufficient restricted funds to cover the initial launch of this program. At the end of 2023, unrestricted operational reserves were €985,000, an increase of €43,000. The purpose of these reserves is to protect the financial stability of the organization and to provide for contingencies. Our policy is to hold at least 6 months of operational expenditure in reserve, and the reserves position at the end of 2023 meets this target. Taking into consideration our reserves, our recent financial performance, and current risks and uncertainties, the board is satisfied that the organization is financially stable with no immediate going concern issues. The board and the Finance and Audit Subcommittee will continue to closely monitor our financial position and risks. We are not expecting such a positive financial outcome for 2024, and it is clear that challenges such as the HSE funding and the need to increase fundraising are both factors that will impact on our ability to meet the goals which we have set out in the strategic plan. Thank you again to all donors and volunteers who supported us in 2023. I also want to thank the members of the Finance and Audit Subcommittee for their advice and oversight on business matters, our auditors, Mazars, for their thorough and professional service, and our management team for their careful management of our financial resources. With that, I present the 2023 financial statements to the AGM and invite any questions that any of our members may have. Thank you.